This episode of News, Games, and More is brought to you by Watch Dogs Legion.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to News, Games, and More, our nightly news show. I am Seth Macy. This is the first time I've ever hosted anything for IGN. I could not possibly be more excited. With me tonight on this maiden voyage, my good friend, Max Scoville.
Hey, man. What's up?
Just living my best life over here. Casey DeFreitas, who I just had the pleasure of being on NBC with.
Thank you. Hello.
And Matt Kim, who's just, a cool dude.
Oh, nice. Thanks. Hey.
Thank you all for joining me tonight. We've got lots of cool things to talk about in the world of video games and entertainment. Seth is host. That is correct. Our first story tonight, PS5. Sony is reportedly increasing the production to 10 million consoles in 2020. What is that? That's 2 million consoles a month. There's only 5 months left in this year. Apparently, Sony is reportedly increasing its PlayStation 5 production to 10 million units in 2020 as it, quote, sees the prolonged effects of the COVID-19 pandemic boosting demand for gaming. Now, here's my question for you guys. Among you, who is buying a PlayStation 5 at launch?
I still haven't decided.
Okay, so that's one undecided from Casey and one. Is that a sure? Max, Matt, you guys are both dedicated to buying one at launch.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm on a PlayStation show. I feel like I sort of have to at this point.
Well, I mean, you can also do it because of all the fun exclusives.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I love my Switch, but I play my PS4 a lot. But I probably won't be incredibly enticed to get one unless it has a launch title I'm really excited for, or until a game comes to the PS5 that all of my friends are going to get.
Oh, well, Sony is anticipating that people won't be like you, and they're going to have a lot of demand, which is why originally Sony planned to produce 5 to 6 million consoles by the end of March 2021. And I remember this story. Matt, you're our news guy. Could you give us a little background on this hot news?
On the production increase?
Yes.
Yeah, so, there was early reports that there might be production shortages as a result of COVID-19, only because, these things are manufactured and produced in China, and that country, when they were hit by the pandemic at its hardest, a lot of the factories shut down, and so there was a lot of worrying that there might be an impact on shortages rather than delays, which was the big story, right? Like, people were like, are next-gen consoles going to be delayed to 2021? And both Sony and Microsoft said no. Holiday 2020 for sure, but there might be less consoles than expected. But now, I guess it seems that new reports are saying that's not the case. In fact, more consoles could be expected this time around.
Oh, man, but twice as many.
Yeah, and it's even more than... So the PS4, when around its launch window, had 7.5 million launch units. So to expect it to be 3.5 million more than that, like, that's insane, right? Like,
I mean,
yeah, that's...
The numbers have shown that people are buying more game consoles because of these stay-at-home social distancing rules. Like, Nintendo blew past its marketing goals in 1 month alone through a one-two punch of Animal Crossing, and also everybody has to be home, and so they can only play Animal Crossing.
I think there's definitely going to be a lot of parents who are like, "Oh, the kids don't go to school anymore. How do we get them to shut up? Like, what do we do?"
This is the way. And I also wanted to point out a comment from Bateman Life. He says, if you're a games industry journalist, shouldn't you be buying the new consoles anyway? And, the fun, some of the perks of working at IGN is that IGN will have some PS5s at the office. And assuming we can go to the office, we'll be able to play communal consoles as long as it's not a health hazard. But who
also,
knows?
Contrary to popular belief, nobody gets paid off for giving games high review scores, so not everyone can just go out and afford to buy a $600 console, especially when you live and work in the one of the most expensive areas in the country.
Yeah, man.
So.
I need that $600 for rent. I had so Dustin's telling us to write us off on our taxes, but I was told by a tax lady this year that we can't do that anymore.
What?
You heard it here. I could be totally wrong. I don't know.
Sounds like I was paid off by Microsoft.
Tax news and more.
I had a professional do my taxes this year, and she said, "Oh yeah, you can't do that anymore." Wow. But I was trying to do it for makeup, so.
IRS, stop listening to the show. I write off way more than I think I should on my taxes all the time. Anyways.
No, that's what you should do.
That's especially what you do.
I wanted to talk about this.
the luck drive said $600 exclamation point price. I was
we're
ballparking
guessing.
it.
We're just
I'm
guessing.
saying with tax and the fact that I'll probably want that little controller charging dock in the remote so I can watch my
Would want
HD
that.
Blu-rays. Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah.
much it is.
I was actually going to bring that up. Initially, they said the 5 to 6 million number was because they were anticipating a lack of demand, which made me think that the price was going to be a little too high. Does anyone think that this new forecast? Oh, let's get some price predictions. Casey, what do you think? What do you think we're going to get? You're on record, by the way. No one will ever forget
Gosh,
this.
I think somewhere between 500 to 600, especially considering the PS3, I think was around 600 when it first came out, and it didn't have that big of a demand because of that price point. I remember being able to get it when Assassin's Creed came out without having to fight for it very much. So I'm assuming it will be somewhere around then, but also with inflation. So $600 back then is like what, like $800 now? I don't know. I'm not an economist. Don't talk.
$10,000 now. Yeah. What about you, Matt?
I'm saving up for $500 is what I'm expecting. I think the fact that smartphone prices have broken the $1,000 wall and people are still buying those every year has shown that people are willing to pay more for luxury electronics, and I think this firmly falls in that category.
Oh, okay.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, Max, you already said that you expect it to cost $899.
I think it's going to be $1,500 because it's going to come with a full-size Crash Bandicoot costume, which will really enhance the haptic feedback of the DualSense controller. No, I don't think that. Yeah, I think it's going to be. If I had to guess, I think it's going to be $500 for the disk drive model, and maybe $550 for disk drive and $500 for the one with just hard drive. I don't know. I've been going back and forth on this a whole lot, but we always see that and we're like, wow, MSRP, wowzers, great, and then you roll in tax and you roll in a second controller or a game or whatever, and it winds up being, $100 more anyway. So,
yeah, they actually said they're supposedly, according to this report, increasing production on the DualSense controllers. So they're gearing up to move some units. I think I have been saying all along that this is going to be a $599 console, but the fact that they basically doubled the amount of consoles that they're going to make, I think it's $499 is going to be the top end model now. I think this is
the top end.
What does the chat have to say about that, Casey?
What does the chat have to say about that? Ken P says, I'd buy a PC, but you forget game exclusives. That's why I buy a PlayStation. And also, what? These guys are funny.
How much does the chat think it's going to cost?
On the price, a lot of people are saying $450 or $500 because there are two models of PlayStation. So the model without the disc drive would maybe be $450, and the one with the disc drive would be $500. I'm hoping for the $50 discrepancy between those two models because I think $100 discrepancy will make me upset, and I assume other people would also be upset by that.
Well, yeah, I think that $100 is a lot of money,
no
matter how you slice it.
The right to play a disc game, that seems like a huge premium.
I mean, 4K Blu-ray of Jaws 40th anniversary.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Jaws is cool, but no, I think it's also going to factor in hard drive space, and apparently the hard drive of the PS5 is like a big thing to get excited about anyway. Or maybe not just hard drive, but storage, I guess, because if you're going to be, if the digital only version has a bigger hard drive and that's like a really huge selling point, I could see them, I don't know, maybe charging like closer to that. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. That drive space is pricey there.
Yeah,
proprietary, real fast, super fast.
And more people are buying digital games now than ever, so it's not.
That is true.
It's not even a feature that. I mean, it's like 50-50 popularity, right? Like half the people don't even use it.
Right. Yeah.
So It's Rad makes an interesting point here, saying so they're making 5 million units for each version or 10 million units each entire, because that's a weird point. We do know this is two SKUs. Like, this is not just like one singular model, this is multiple. So it would be really interesting to find out what the breakdown is of that distribution. How are they banking on more people buying digital, or are they playing it even with physical digital? Will one of these be hard to find and the other is going to be everywhere?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the digital only will be cheaper to produce, only because it lacks a major component. So there could be a chance that digital does flood the market, and so when people go in for a disc only drive or disc including model, they'll only find digital only versions of it.
And I wanted to point out Chuck Nofus says 600 would be a mistake. They plan to get money through services and games, not to mention accessories. And you're totally right. Generally, video game consoles are not sold for profit. I think very few have been sold for profit. I can't remember which ones off the top of my head, but it's normally not the practice. So
Nintendo consoles are typically sold for profit, aren't they?
Nintendo
Well,
products?
Nintendo doesn't have to. Generally speaking,
they're cheap enough that they can tack on an extra $50 to $100, and it doesn't make people cry when they look at their wallet.
I want to point out Formal Flamingo's comment in YouTube. He says 300 USD digital. At least I hope, because that's all the money I got.
Oh man, get yourself a side hustle between now and then. You gotta build up your war chest, because it's next gen time, baby. We're going into this hot. But anyway, we'll go into this next story about the Uncharted movie. Finally, I feel like as long as I've been writing about video games, the Uncharted movie has been in production. But Tom Holland, beloved actor, has taken to social media to mark day one playing Nathan Drake as the Uncharted movie officially enters production. A Sony representative has confirmed to us, IGN, that production on the Uncharted movie has not started yet, but preparations are underway, and they're, quote, hoping to start soon. However, on an Instagram post on Wednesday, Tom Holland shared a photo from the set. It was showing his folding chair with the name Nate emblazoned on the back. And in the caption, he wrote, "Day one, #Uncharted." Is anyone excited for the Uncharted movie? Max?
No, man.
No?
I will believe that movie exists when it is in some format I can watch it in. There are movies that I've seen trailers for that I can't even go see in theaters. Like, I'd like to see Wonder Woman 1984. I don't know when that's going to come out. Uncharted is a movie that we have been talking about. I just pulled this up. It was announced in 2008.
What?
That is, it's been a cool minute since they've been talking about this. Earlier this summer, early this spring, I guess, back in the before times, I worked the red carpet for Pixar's Onward. We asked Tom Holland about that. He's like, yeah, Uncharted's going to start filming this summer. It's going to be a crazy summer. And he was right about that. And I don't believe this movie will ever come out.
It's
what
gonna
about
come
you,
out.
Casey? You sound sad.
All right, look, man, they made a chair. If they already put in all the money to make a chair with Nate on it, they've got to go through with it. They've already, sunk in too much. And I know that's a sunk cost fallacy, but they've got to do it. It's happening. Is it going to be good? I don't know.
I actually heard that the director got puppy director pants too. So maybe this is serious. What about Matt? Do you think that this movie's going ahead?
I'm with Max. I will see it before I believe it.
Okay.
What is it? Eight directors? 7 directors.
7 directors.
7 directors.
Phew.
It's been going for so long that one of the actors attached to play Nathan Drake aged out of playing Nathan Drake. Like, they got Mark Wahlberg, and then they're just like, oh, this movie planning has gone too long. Mark Wahlberg's too old now.
Man, you're a goat. I like that.
That's it's nuts. I don't think we're gonna see it, but whatever. If it does, and
hey,
I hope we see it only because I'm curious, and I think a good video game movie is still the sort of thing that I fingers crossed for. I kind of had high hopes for the Tomb Raider movie with Alicia Vikander a couple years ago, but that turned out to be meh. So maybe one day.
Oh wow, yeah, I actually forgot that movie existed at all. You said that this is the 7th director. It's Venom's Ruben Fleischer. It's the 7th director to be attached to the much beleaguered screen adaptation of this video game franchise. He officially signed on to replace Bumblebee director Travis Knight, who bowed out of his Uncharted directing duties due to scheduling conflicts stemming from Holland's Spider-Man commitments at the time. I think that's just professional speak for I don't want to touch this, but I don't know. I'm not a big Hollywood guy. I don't really rub elbows with that
real
sort of person.
quick. I just wanted to point out this comment. 4040 says, "I'm gonna make a Metroid Prime chair then. Do it, then I'll have to come to fruition."
They have to make it. They made the chair. It's already
On a chair, it has to come true.
It has to happen.
Yep,
But only
that
if
old
Tom Holland sits in the chair. That grants the wishes.
I don't know. I'm still kind of mad about the direction that they're going with the whole. I get it. Tom Holland's a popular actor, and you want to get him to star in things, but I don't know. Give me a middle-aged, or I don't know, 39, 42-year-old Nathan Drake. What is that? Is that middle age anymore? That's not. Midlife
That's how old
crisis.
I am.
You're
So
middle-aged,
yes,
Seth.
I will be
You're-
Nathan Drake. Yeah.
You can do it. You are the ideal age in my fan casting.
Only true 80s kids can play Nathan Drake in the Uncharted movie. Finally begins shooting. Does anyone in chat have anything to say about this as far as, do you think that this movie is going to happen or not? Sound off in the chat. Apparently this project has started to build momentum with the Instagram stories, and he tagged Mark Wahlberg, who is his treasure hunting mentor Victor Sully, quote unquote, Sullivan. So yeah, I think that's actually a pretty good casting call there.
You think Mark Wahlberg feels bad that he's like, oh, I was gonna play you, but now I play an old mentor of you?
That is it would be like if he got cast in Boogie Nights and ended up playing the Burt Reynolds role.
Yeah.
Because it just took so long to make that great movie, my favorite movie of all time. Okay.
You know who hates that movie?
Who?
Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, I know. That's why I like it even more now. I feel better about liking it.
Isn't that the one movie where everybody's like, Mark Wahlberg was really good in it, or?
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg's everything about the movie Boogie Nights is phenomenal. In fact, make Boogie Nights and just call it an Uncharted movie. It's a great movie. That'll be the 8th director, Paul Thomas Anderson's Uncharted movie.
I would watch
Diggler's
that. I would watch the
Fortune.
hell out of that.
We have some people are asking about things about the PS5 still. Like JTA asks, will PS4 disc work on the PS5? And I'm assuming not, because Sony has been pretty adamant on not.
We don't know.
But we don't know. You're right. We don't know.
We do know it won't work on the discless version.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true. You have to grind the disc up into a fine powder and put it through the vents in the top, and then it absorbs it like those balls they showed in that video.
You ever watched it? Sorry.
I was going to say, I think that what they'll probably do is something where it identifies the disc. Like, I mean, you could put a 360 game into an Xbox One, and it goes, well, you can download this, but you're not like, we're not going to read it off the disc, but we're going to be like, that's a legit disc. We trust you. Like it's a weird kind of, DRM handshake thing, but
like, you own it. So here's
Yeah.
a digital version of it. I was gonna say you have to grind it up, put it in your mouth, and blow into it, like in Mad Max when they blow the gasoline directly into the engine. You gotta go, right?
The guzzling.
Yeah.
Well, now we're talking about another one of my favorite movie franchises, but we need to move on. To the comments, Quinn1515 says, Wahlberg, gross, unchatted. I like whoever put that in there so I could use my New England accent, which I have naturally, so I'm not faking it.
Yeah.
But you.
Oh my God.
Were you friends with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg and I, we hang out. We go to Wahlburgers, and then we go, we go down to South. They see what Dooley's up to. Say hi to your mother. Anyway, story number 3. Stanley Kubrick, made the Matrix sequels, quote, torture to shoot. And I don't really understand how this is a thing, because I thought Stanley Kubrick was dead by then. But the Matrix Reloaded and the Matrix Revolutions blames the late filmmaking legend for why making those sequels proved, quote, sort of torture to make, and for the diminished quality of the films themselves. Oscar-winning cinematographer show his podcast, Team Deacons. This is a hard sentence. It's not written in a way that is making it easy for me. The cinematographer for the sequels explained how Stanley Kubrick influenced the film's directors, the Wachowskis, which in turn made for a grueling back-to-back production for both cast and crew. Now, that does sound horrible, but I want to bring up Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3 were filmed back-to-back, and those movies turned out wonderfully.
I don't think that wasn't the part that he was calling out.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
what was he calling out?
Yeah, so here's the part. It's kind of buried here. The Wachowskis had read this damn book by Stanley Kubrick that said actors don't do natural performances until you wear them out. So let's go to take 90.
Ooh.
And then he said, I want to dig Stanley Kubrick up and kill him.
Oh, wow.
This is a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's such a good quote.
If
I
you
like-
watch... Go ahead, Max.
I totally was reading this, and I went through I sort of did a bunch of mental sort of leaps and I was like, oh, so Stanley Kubrick showed up on set and told the Wachowskis you should shoot sequels to this back to back, and then I was like, wait a minute, he was dead, and then I kept reading, and I was like, this is a journey. This is a lot.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Scatman Carruthers interview on, I think it's the Tonight Show, where he's talking about his role in The Shining and how much he hated working
Oh,
with
no.
Stanley Kubrick. He'll never work with him again. And
Oh,
Stanley Kubrick turned around and said, "Well, I'll never work with you either again, Scatman. I'm Stanley Kubrick." But yeah, the Matrix sequels were shot back to back over 276 days, which is a punishing challenge even without directors embracing the Kubrickian levels of exhaustive meticulousness.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to say. What you got to say, Matt?
I remember just, the opposite of that is like I've heard stories about like how Clint Eastwood directs actors, and apparently he's like hella hands off, so he's just like one take and they're like, "Did you like that?" And the actors are like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, then we're moving on." And then people are just like, "Okay."
That's really cool. That sounds like really hands off. I appreciate that.
Well,
It's a whole different style of management.
a lot
Until
of
you
people,
get an insecure actor who's like, no, I didn't like it,
I didn't
and then
like
does
it,
it
yeah.
100 times.
Well,
I
the
know.
whole thing with George Lucas is he famously would just sort of be like, do it again, but like do it, different again. And they'd be like, what is that? Like, what do I do with that? There's a great interview with Ewan McGregor, and he's talking about the little kid who played Boba Fett in episode 2, and they kept doing takes with him, and he like wasn't doing it, and he goes up to him and he's like, "All right, listen, so like when I walk into the room, pretend that you just smelled the worst fart and then make a face like that." And so if you watch when like Boba Fett first sees Obi-Wan, he just does this like, and it's smell the fart acting.
They actually teach you that
Yeah.
in acting school.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
wasn't
know that.
Lucas's idea, so I don't, he was like, "No, talk to the computer puppets. It's fine. We'll figure it out in post."
Over in chat, Free T says, didn't they say Christopher Nolan tells actors they can't sit down? And that's a common thing in a lot of workplaces, and I do not agree with it.
Hey, if you can lean, you got time to clean. That's what they tell you in places that are terrible to work at.
Yes.
Those places are often.
That sounds like my cashier job.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
did-
Not my current cashier job.
Yeah.
My current cashier job is much nicer. No.
Oh. Casey, did you ever have a job where they had that philosophy?
Yes,
You got time
and
to clean?
I worked the daytime shift at an Italian restaurant where we'd have maybe one customer in the 5 hours I was there, and I was not allowed to sit. I had to stand at the desk, and I could not read the menu. I could not do anything. I had to stand there and be ready for whenever someone might walk in, even though it was once every 5 hours.
Just eyes forward, door opens, and you snap to life like
Hi,
an automaton.
welcome to the restaurant name that I'm not going to say right now.
Right, we don't want to put them on blast.
You can put them on blast. They
All
probably,
right.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It was CDB's in Tampa, across the street from University of South Florida.
Boom, going down.
Okay,
CBs.
yeah, take that.
Take
They
that.
had really good drink
Healing
specials. though.
oils. Oh, that's CBD. Are you Max?
What the standings? Oh yeah, no, I had a barista job. They were like, "No, like if you got time to lean, you got time to clean." That is definitely true. They're like, clean the thing you foam the milk with. Like do that. Like go, make sure the milk jugs are at right angles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing was working at Tower Records, which is a record store. You would expect people working there to be slackers. They were like, "No, you got to stand up." And I was like, "Let me sit and read my magazines. Get out of my hair." I didn't show up smelling like weed today. Give me a break.
It's really hard to judge people's musical taste if you're sitting down. Trust me.
We're getting some interesting movie facts in the chat. From
by all means, let's hear it.
Proud DC says, interesting movie fact. Robert Downey Jr. would bring his food onto set and would even eat it during recording scenes, like in Age of Ultron.
That's
only Robert Downey Jr. could get away with that, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, at some point you just become that hotshot actor who can just do anything.
Just eating a cheeseburger right there in costume.
Just make sure it's out of the shot.
Sesame seeds.
I wonder about that a lot. I know that like the prop food they have a lot of the time, like if people are drinking alcohol or coffee, it's like, I think for coffee, it's frequently like they put Coca-Cola in a microwave to make it not have bubbles in it, but it has the right color and consistency.
Right.
But then other times, like I've had friends who've been extra. I think Andrew Goldfarb, who used to work at IGN, has talked about this, but the liquid that they have is just like, it's just like colored water, and it's like you have to drink it and not react to it, but it's just a weird.
That's acting, baby.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay. So we have one comment in here about, where is it? I lost it here. About how there's a new Matrix movie in the works. To go back to the thing we were talking about,
Yeah.
they were shooting that in San Francisco, like down the street from our office, and they had all these. Did you guys see those blown up cars?
Yep.
There was like a whole parking lot full of all these like blown up cars, and I was like, wow, things have gotten real bad in San Francisco. And then I found out that it was like, no, they're filming car chases, like those. I thought there was just a really bad street racing problem, and there's all these people with like nitrous tanks like crashing their cars. Yeah.
I know too many friends who skipped work to go see scenes that were being shot in San Francisco just to see Keanu Reeves from like 40 feet away.
I mean, you could say you saw Keanu Reeves from 40 feet away. I think that's a pretty good bragging right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's breathtaking.
Even from 40 feet away.
From any direction, even if he's on the very edge of the horizon, you still feel that warm Keanu energy washing over you. Which is great, because that's, I think, what this film sounds like it needs, is a positive influence on the set, because the Wachowskis sound like, I don't know, is this still their style of directing?
I don't know what a Wachowski movie looks like, or I don't know what a Matrix movie looks like when we all are on the internet constantly.
Yeah.
Like, we're all sort of doing what they do in the Matrix. They all like that's a movie about working from home. They got to go in their submarine and then use Skype to go into like the VR space. Like, they just want to, they don't live there.
True.
Anyway, we occasionally have little voices that go into our ears that you can't hear watching at home. Seth, do we want to talk about The Matrix some more, or do we have another thing to move on to?
We have another thing to move on to. It's another entertainment story about a little dog named Wishbone.
But hold on to that for just 1 second. We've got to take a quick break. Hang out for a second.
This episode of News, Games, and More is brought to you by Watch Dogs Legion.
He's a Jack Russell Terrier with a penchant for literary classics, and he's getting in a feature film.
Why?
Via what?
Okay, everyone who's watching at home, these things happen. We're figuring this out. Destin's yelling at us in our headphones. I think it's okay. I think we're fine.
They're
He
just
said to
more
ignore
glitches
him.
in the Matrix.
He's screaming and there's things knocking over. There are glitches in the Matrix.
Oh, that usually means they've changed something.
Oh no.
Did you see the black cat? Describe it.
So, do you want to talk about Wishbone? I guess we could talk about Wishbone.
Let's talk about Wishbone. Casey's like so excited to talk about Wishbone. So I would let's talk some Wishbone.
I know it's really silly. I'm so excited about it. When I was a little kid, I loved Wishbone. I watched the show every day. I had a talking Wishbone plush that my grandpa bought for me. I had the board game. I had the video game. Wishbone was my jam. I loved it. So you have this Jack Russell Terrier, and they made it in all of the. So you can't see this in the opening sequence for the show, but in all the marketing materials, like the stuffed animals and stuff, he actually had they would give him a paw print on his ear.
Aww.
I don't know.
Kind of see it there. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. There you go. But
that's like the dog version of Mike Tyson's eye tattoo.
The entire show was Wishbone retelling stories of classic literature, like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer or Oliver Twist or The Odyssey or like, I don't know, Rip Van Winkle.
Kids go for, yeah.
It would tie into whatever drama was happening with his family. Aww. Like the kid in his family would get a calculator and then they would tie that into the time machine somehow. It's very silly, but I really liked it. It was the first time I heard about Don Quixote.
They kept putting that dog in different costumes in the show, right? Like he was always wearing little shirts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's really weird. It's weird to have a show where the main character wears costumes in every episode and then to have them just butt naked for the entire intro for normal episodes.
It was great. Like they had actors and put the dog all in costumes like for every episode. I don't
know. Did Wishbone talk?
Wishbone talked, but no one could actually understand him. But they made it. Yeah, but they made it in the show so people would respond as if they were responding to him, but didn't know that he could talk.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like he'll be saying like, "Well, it was snack time," and then you'll hear from the next room like, "It's snack time," and he's like, "Yes," but like they didn't actually hear him.
Oh, so he was like the Married with Children dog kind of like he was just like he would make commentary on the.
Yes. 100%.
Or like
Okay.
Stewie from Family Guy, who I don't know if the show, like, I don't know if it's canon that when he talks, people can hear him.
Who's the baby? Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
That's a good question. I haven't watched
His
Family
mom
Guy in a
definitely
long
can't.
time.
Yeah.
That's
Does he
true.
speak? Who knows? I don't know.
So
I mean,
the really weird thing about this story is that it's going to be directed by Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly
Yeah.
Brothers fame, who did Green Book, but before that didn't win any Oscars for making like Dumb and Dumber and Kingpin and gross films.
Kingpin is a great movie.
Yeah, I
So
go back and forth on
Wishbone
that one.
Huh.
from Academy Award winning director Peter Farrelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Either
One
okay,
half.
there's two ways this is going to go.
Okay.
One way, we are going to see Wishbone taking a crap. The other way, Wishbone is going to teach us valuable lessons about racism, and Peter Farrelly is going to get another Academy Award.
Do you think they would it be live action? Have they said that already?
I don't know. Is it in the story? Matt, did you report this hot
I
news?
did not report this. This was from the entertainment team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't say. But I
Does
guess,
anyone in the chat know? Will the dog?
I mean, the original actor of Wishbone is definitely not around anymore.
What?
Yeah, probably not. No.
I mean,
All your favorite movie dogs from the 90s are.
yeah, because the original show was 1996 to 2001. So yeah, no, there's no way.
How many holes do you guys think the creator of Air Bud punched in his wall today after reading this news?
Oh no. I
Nothing
would
in the
watch
rules
another
says
Air
dog
Bud movie.
can't punch holes in walls.
So he's on his age. He's like, "There's nothing in the book that says my dog can get a reboot." Call up Universal.
1996 was a hot time for the Jack Russell Terrier breed.
Mhm.
There was the famous Jack Russell Terrier on a little show called Frasier, and the dog I can't remember the name of right now.
I thought
Wasn't
that was the dog's name.
hated? That dog was hated by everyone.
What?
Yeah.
I think you're misremembering history. The dog was beloved to this day.
Okay.
All right. Robbie Brenner will executive produce and oversee the project for Mattel, along with Kevin McKeon. Lexi Barter will oversee the project for Universal Pictures. Our deep library of iconic franchises continues to offer cinematic storytelling opportunities, said Brenner. We're thrilled to be working with Peter Farrelly, Roy Parker, who is, I always think is the guy who did the Ghostbusters theme, but that's actually Ray Parker Jr., I think. And Universal to take the beloved dog classic in a new direction with a modern reimagination of the franchise. I'm not exactly sure what a modern reimagination
I assume
is
they
of
won't
the
have-
dog doing classics.
I assume we won't have kids going, "Wow, a calculator with a percentage sign." It'll probably be a little bit more
The dog-
advanced.
Oh yeah.
The dog will be CGI, and the dog will use TikTok. I'm calling it now.
Oh
Oh,
my
no.
god, that's gonna be the
Yeah.
worst. They show his little paw like swiping.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
gosh.
went
On a phone.
no,
I have-
really
Actually, the
did.
movie's just a dog reading Wikipedia to you for an hour and a half.
I have a conspiracy theory. All right,
Let's hear it.
this movie's coming out because of the Jack Russell Terrier lobbyists are jealous of Shiba Inus becoming so popular in the most recent years. So they're putting this movie
That's
out
true.
to cause a resurgence in popularity of Jack Russell Terriers. Or
It's
Wishbone, the new Wishbone will be a Shiba.
that's the modern reimagination.
That'll be a bone of contention if they recast Wishbone as a different kind of dog. If there's not a Jack Russell, if they're like, yeah, let's get like a Shiba in there. Like,
I think
people would.
they tried to cast Eind as a husky for the Cowboy Bebop live action, and people were
Are
so
you
mad.
serious?
Yeah,
Yeah, because a husky was cooler or easier to work with to shoot on film. I don't know.
there were probably reasons, but there will never be good enough for me.
I don't like that one bit.
But
No.
that show's probably never happening anymore, so we don't have to worry about the dog being the wrong breed.
They filmed 3 episodes.
What?
Really?
Yeah, before John Cho's accident, and before Netflix and every other television show got shut down, the showrunner confirmed that they finished filming 3 episodes of the live-action Cowboy Bebop show.
Can we just get the 3 episodes? I mean, they've done that with anime this year. Like
I know, right?
if they have to stop producing, they still at least put out the first 3 episodes.
I think
problem
Netflix
is
should
it-
just put out a Cowboy Bebop anime. I don't want to watch a live action Cowboy Bebop one bit. I did just have
Craziest.
I just had that dumb of a thought. I was like, I don't know if they're ever going to pull it off in live action. They should just do anime instead. I was like,
Crazy enough, it might just work.
Did you guys see they're making a Dragon's Dogma anime? Did we talk about that on the show?
No, we didn't. That was some big news that went out today because everyone was so excited. Oh my god, we're getting Dragon's Dogma anime. Could this mean a Dragon's Dogma 2?
Wow.
I believe it's coming to Netflix
in
September 7th.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, we got
that's a lot.
Castlevania Netflix series, but we haven't gotten any new Castlevania games.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
fair point.
And
That's
they're
okay.
both Capcom. So
No, Castlevania is that Konami joint.
it's Konami. Why did I think
Konami
Capcom?
doesn't make any games.
I mean,
They are
Hey,
making,
now, PES Soccer, excuse me.
oh, sorry.
I want a Pro Evolution Soccer anime on Netflix.
That would be kind of
No.
cool. No?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it makes sense for Konami to be like, well, we don't want to bother making games. It's complicated, but if Netflix wants to pay us money to make a Castlevania show, that's cool. It does seem. I mean, we know that I think we're getting. Did they talk about a Devil May Cry anime on Netflix?
Yes.
So that's a thing. So yeah, like clearly Capcom is like down to play ball with them. Dragon's Dogma is a weird one. Like that's an awesome game. But I don't know if we ever it came out on Switch. I feel like they're trying to sort of gauge interest and kind of snowball some fan base to get more interest in the sequel.
If it's as quality as the Castlevania series, I am already incredibly excited for it because the Castlevania series on Netflix I loved it. I don't know, Max, you're making faces. I can't tell if you agree with me.
No,
or
I mean
not.
that's because Castlevania is about like vampires and Dracula and like the love, and like Dragon's Dogma is about like a guy who wakes up with no heart and has to kill a dragon at the end of time or whatever.
It is
like,
really weird. It is really
also,
weird.
Castlevania has existing characters, whereas Dragon's Dogma was really fun because of like you made your own characters and then you would like rent other people's characters from the internet. And so, like, for whatever, kind of by default, all the highest level, like, what are they called? Pawns? I think they were like,
pawns.
NPC. Yeah. So, like, all the highest level ones would always be like scantily clad babes because, like, dudes on the internet would be like, hell yeah, you can come join my party. And like, I don't know. I like that game. I need to revisit.
I never played Dragon's Dogma. Is that something I should be putting on my radar?
Switch?
I mean, I do love when a game is on Switch because I can
Here's
fall
the thing.
asleep playing it.
Nobody talks about this part of the game. It's first of all, it's hard as hell. It's like definitely like it pushes back a lot. You don't get the ability to fast travel until like way later on, or if you do, it's like a finite. You have to get like special stones to fast travel, which is a pain in the ass. But the coolest thing is you can pick up just about anything, or you can climb. Like if you can't pick it up, you can climb it generally. Like you can pick up wild pigs and just like throw them, or if, like there are snakes in the world that you can just pick up snakes and like throw them at people, or you can like pick up your friends and throw them, or if you're like up against like a golem or a griffin or whatever, you can just like Shadow the Colossus it and just like jump on it and just start like punching it in the head or whatever. And it's like
sounds so cool.
It's really really cool.
How did I miss this game?
It's also one of those games where you can accidentally wander into an area that you definitely shouldn't be yet and get totally destroyed.
Oh, I did that when I visited San Francisco, actually.
It's too real.
Chat what game franchises they'd like to see turned into a Netflix anime. It doesn't even have to be on Netflix. My answer. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say my answer real quick, and then we'll take one from the chat. Is Metal Gear. I'd love to see a Metal Gear anime. I think that'd be really cool.
It would be really good. Metal Gear's story is just anime enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than anime enough.
Hold on, I'm getting the voicemail. What's that? Yeah, okay. We have to wrap up the show right now. I'm sorry to say thanks for playing along in the comments that we didn't get your comments to what anime you want to see. But can't do anything about the passage of time. Hold on, Destin's telling me we can do one from chat. He's giving me permission. Yeah, does anybody in chat have a good one?
Yeah, there's Richard Lloyd says Wolfenstein, Ben Kaddish is Sekiro,
awesome.
and Timothy James just says boy, and I assume he's referencing God of War.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a great one too. Well, Max, Casey, Matt, thank you for joining me here on my debut of hosting duties on New Games and More. We are here every night, same time. Same Twitch channel on the front page of IGN. You can go to YouTube. Usually I will host it on I'll put it on my Twitter, but we can't post to Twitter right now for some reason. But thank you all for joining me on this adventure of discovery. I feel really wonderful. I feel closer to you guys and I have ever felt before. So thank you so much. And we are done.
This episode of News, Games, and More is brought to you by Watch Dogs Legion.